Team, welcome back to the channel, man. As always, I am stoked to see you. And in this episode, I want to give you the top 10 things that you need to do right now in order to prepare for the Soldier of the Quarter, Soldier of the Year, as well as the promotion board to either Sergeant or Staff Sergeant. These top 10 things, I'm telling you, will set you apart from your peers and set you up for some dadgum success. So I am looking forward to your thoughts and your comments down below. Of course, make sure that you leave some and consider sharing this out with a friend or battle buddy as well. That way we can continue to master our craft and develop our tactical virtue. Let's get into the number one thing that you need to do right now to prepare for the board. And this is something that too many people, they wait on until the last minute. And they want to blame somebody else for not giving it to them. And that's, you need to get a copy of the Memorandum of Instruction for that board, or the MOI. They exist. They're out there. And odds are, in your battalion, in your brigade, in your division, those MOIs are not changing from month to month, from quarter to quarter, or from year to year. The subject areas are the same. They rinse and repeat. Get a hold of them now and begin to get to know them. As you do that, look at and know who the board members are going to be. What do you know about each one? What can you expect? All of these first few tips are all the things that you need to do before you're even selected to go and appear before the board. There's no reason to wait. The time is coming and you are going to be selected to go. It's just a matter of time. Are you going to wait for your platoon sergeant or your first sergeant to say, hey, you, get ready for the board, it's in 2 days? Or are you going to show some discipline, initiative, and raise your hand and say, here I am, send me? The time is now, and it's up to you. The second tip that I have for you is, as you're looking at that MOI, get down each topic that's in that MOI. Know the regulatory number and name verbatim. Get those. That's the very first things that you should get down. Get down the names, get down the numbers, and know what is in each one. That way, A, you know what to go study. And B, if you're asked a question and you don't know the answer, you could always tell that board member where you could find the answer and it be verbatim. Spit out the name and the number. Have some confidence. The only way to have confidence is to get that knowledge into your gray matter. That's tip number 2. Tip number 3, you need to know your creeds. You need to know the soldier's creed, and you need to know the creed of the non-commissioned officer. If you are a junior enlisted soldier, you're a specialist, you're a PFC, you're a private, and you're getting ready to go to a competition board, you're a specialist and you're getting ready to go appear before the promotion board, it would behoove you to know not only the creed, but also know the NCO creed as well. And if you don't know it all verbatim and that president of the board asks you if you know the creed of the non-commissioned officer, then you need to say, roger that, and stand up and say all of it that you can say verbatim. And don't be tricked. If somebody says, spit off the warrior ethos, you need to be able to know what segment of the soldier's creed that is. If you're a sergeant, if you're a staff sergeant, if you're a sergeant first class and you're going before either a promotion board or a best warrior competition, you had better believe that if you don't know the soldier's creed, you can say adios. I got no time for you. If you've thrown away the basic things, there's no place for you in this competition. It's nothing personal, but you got to know these things, and you need to know them verbatim. Tip number 4, get your dadgum SRB and go to S1 and get it updated. It's going to take you all of 5 minutes. You may or may not need an NCO to go with you, but you need to go to S1. You need to sit down with a clerk, and they need to review your SRB, and you need to get it updated, especially that assignment history. While you're there, look at the schools and see what's there and what's not there. What can you get added into it? While you're there, look at your awards and decorations. Do you have things in there that you don't rate? Do you rate things that are not there? Get all of that cleaned up. Look at your correspondence hours. Do you got 25 hours? Or are you maxed out? Show some initiative and get some stuff done before you go. It's all going to help paint the picture of how you take the profession of arms seriously. What's your weapon score? What's your PT score? What's your GT score? These are all things before you step in that we're looking at and judging your potential based off of your performance. After you have your SRB updated, look at your uniform and make it match your SRB. If it doesn't match, there's going to be some threads that we're just going to start pulling apart. We're going to start pulling it apart. And you may not be able to stand the heat. Moving on to tip number 5. Again, all things to do before you step in. Go out and get yourself a fresh haircut. Make sure that you have a clean shave. Have your dog tags around your neck. Have your identification card on your person. And make sure that you look like a professional soldier. If you look around your formation today, look off to your left and look off to your right. How many soldiers do you have in your formation that look like a bag of smashed? There's probably quite a few. And we all see you. And if you come to our board and you look like a hot mess, you can be a hot mess on your way out with a big fat no. Take this serious and make sure that you present a clean, professional appearance. Make sure that all of your grooming is good to go. Don't leave any room for this to be the area for your integrity and your professionalism to be questioned. If you're a male soldier, this is tip number 6. Tie a full Windsor knot. Foreign hands are authorized, but like walking, they are strongly discouraged. They're not symmetrical. They don't look clean and crisp. Clip-on ties are authorized. But man, come on. Find a YouTube video, tie that full Windsor. That's what I did. In 2010, I tied my full Windsor knot, and I have not untied it since. Because it's perfect. I can't recreate perfection like I did 12 stinking years ago. Tie a full Windsor knot. It'll set you apart. Tip number 7. This one's a big kind of a secret that nobody really seems to know or even think about. But every board has a board recorder who sits off over in the corner, doesn't say a word. All they do is collect the score sheets and let the president of the board know who's either a go, a no-go, or who won. Normally, they are junior enlisted service members in the ranks of specialist and below. They're brand new to the S1. The NCOs don't want to do this because they think they're too big to go in here and partake in this stuff. And so they pick the new soldiers to go in there. Well, guess what? They see these boards month after month after month. They know what each board member brings to the table, right? They know who acts which way and who acts the other way. They know who you need to be concerned about. They know how the president of the board conducts himself in the board. Have a little chit chat with him. Get some insider information. It's not illegal. It's not unethical. It's not like trading Wall Street trading, it's not illegal. It's not unethical. We're not talking about trading stocks in Wall Street and having insider information like that. We're talking about doing a little freaking intelligence. Now, once you have that, as you're going back through that MOI that you got on the front end, you can pay a little bit more attention to detail with some of those board members' subject areas, because you know which ones that you need to be concerned about. Does that make sense? The last few tips I have for you all have to do with happening at the board itself. I call it this part of the 2-minute drill. The 2-minute drill is essentially everything that happens from the time that you're outside the door to the time that you're in the chair. So think about it. Make sure that when you knock on that door that you pound it. Make sure that they know that there is somebody who's confident outside that door, who's ready to come in and own it. If you just knock on the door and you sound all timid, man, come on. You got to bring it. Bring some heat. This is your board. We gathered here for you. So own it and act like it. The next tip I have for you is to make sure that you walk and march like a soldier. They're going to tell you to report, and you're going to report about 3 paces in front of the board member, centered, and you're going to render a hand salute, that movement from the door to that position. The series of facing movements, the right face, the 2 steps forward march, the about faces, the left faces, the find your chair and have a seat. All of those movements need to be crisp. You need to move like a professional soldier, the epitome of what it means to be a soldier. Get that down and get it down right. We talked about your creeds earlier, but the next one is just as important to get down as good and as solid as you can. It's your bio. Nobody knows you better than you. You should be able to recite your bio. It's not going to be the same as it's written on a piece of paper. Probably needs to be down to less than 45 seconds, starting from when you were born and where you were born, where you grew up, your entrance into the service, your short and your long-term goals, your family, hobbies, things of this nature. And it should be concise. If your bio has a bunch of ums and your confidence level is going to tank. And you can't have that at a board. You only have a few minutes to set the example that you're trying to set. And if your confidence begins to dip out, you're going to be knocked out. So don't set yourself up for failure. Say your board out loud as you're studying. Get it down so that you can say it. When the president of the board asks you to say to them and to everybody else a little bit about yourself, what they're saying is, give us your bio. So make sure that you do that. The last tip that I have for you, and this is huge. This goes along the same lines of how we prepare our bio. As you're studying on the front end, this is going to pay huge dividends while you're here in the board. And it's this: you cannot study in your head. You cannot study reading 3x5 cards in your head. You cannot study thinking about situations in your head. Because once your mouth begins to open, you're going to find yourself hesitating with things that don't make sense as the words begin to come out loud. So if you're using 3x5 cards, awesome. If you're using sheets of paper, even fantasticer. But as you're studying, read that question out loud and say your answer out loud. Read those questions out loud and say your questions out loud. Make sure that it makes sense and that you can recite it without a ton of hesitation. Team, these are the top tips that I can give you to prepare yourself, or for those who are in your charge, for success in 2023 and beyond. These are basic things that will withstand the test of time and all the changes that may or may not happen. Make sure you leave some comments down below as we continue to master our craft in this way, because that's what it's all about, is an authentic community that is looking to build one another up. I appreciate each and every single one of y'all. Until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.